Welcome into the Steelers Talk mailbag this week, where I'm answering your questions on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Can't wait to see what you guys got for me today. But before we get into the questions, make sure you join the most interactive Steelers community here on YouTube by clicking that subscribe button right now, okay? Because we have 2 live shows every single week, Wednesdays and Fridays. We do our Summer Madden series, which is a ton of fun, watching those games live with you guys. And then also we have these mailbags every single Friday where you guys have the opportunity to get your voice on the show, ask me questions, and I really love talking to you guys directly. So if you want to join over 53,000 Yinzers that have already clicked that subscribe button and joined our family, make sure you click that subscribe button right now. And with that, I'll pause and open it up for questions. We got a black diamond here, Omar's Burner, saying, Sperry, I was curious what your thoughts were on the 49ers wide receiver coach comments. I'm actually not familiar with what the wide receiver coach actually said, but in terms of the wide receiver position there in San Francisco, by the way, Omar's Burner, if you want to let me know what he said, you can put in a super chat or another hashtag Steelers. But in terms of the San Francisco wide receiver position, this is the way I see it going down. Okay, this is a team that's trying to win a Super Bowl right now, and they have an opportunity to get Brandon Aiyuk. What's up, Sam? You got something for me? So
the 49ers wide receiver coach, Aiyuk's wide receiver coach specifically, is TJ Houshmandzadeh.
Okay.
Who said on 95.7 The Game on Thursday that Aiyuk has a pessimistic outlook now about his contract negotiations compared to the optimistic outlook he had at the start of these negotiations.
Okay, well, I mean, that's interesting there. Houshmandzadeh is definitely somebody that's, he's been a part of the media. He knows the game here. And, I don't think he would be saying this if Aiyuk didn't give him the permission to do so. So, listen, man, if he ends up being a Pittsburgh Steeler this year, I'm going to jump for joy. We're going to go live here on Steelers Talk. I really hope it happens. But in terms of what the 49ers are incentivized to do, I think that keeping as many good receivers on their team as possible is probably good for them. So I think that that's probably what they're going to end up doing, unless the Steelers can give them a great price. Then we got one from Cynthia Edwards here. What's up, Cynthia? Says, do y'all think that Peyton Wilson will be a Defensive Rookie of the Year candidate? I don't think he'll see the field enough. That's what I'll say there, Cynthia. I think he's going to be more of a rotational player. He's going to come in on like second and longs, third, in manageables, whatever. He's going to be more of like the passing situation type linebacker this year. And then next year, I think he's going to be more of the long-term answer at linebacker. Because right now, you still have Patrick Queen and you still have Landon Roberts, who was an excellent linebacker for you last year, in my opinion. So I think Roberts is still going to take on that number 1 starting role, or number 2 behind Patrick Queen now. And then Peyton Wilson will be probably more of a backup, rotational piece, along with Cole Holcomb if he can come back healthy this year. So I think Peyton Wilson's going to play really good ball, but I think the Defensive Rookie of the Year is probably going to go to somebody that plays and is on the field a little bit more. Then we got one from Dave Preston65, who says, is it impossible for the Steelers to get a deal done for CeeDee Lamb? I would say it's probably impossible. Now, unless he straight up demands a trade and the Steelers end up outbidding every other team that would be interested in Lamb's services, I just don't really see it happening. I think that the Steelers want to give that massive contract down the road to George Pickens and not somebody else, like a Brandon Aiyuk, for example, or a CeeDee Lamb. I think they'd rather trade for a number 2 receiver type, like a Deebo Samuel or a Cortland Sutton, somebody they don't have to pay as much. But a guy like CeeDee Lamb, he wants $35 million per season, what Justin Jefferson got, all right? And I'm just not sure if the Steelers are going to be willing to give him that, especially with George Pickens' contract coming up. Andrew Filipponi threw this trade idea out earlier in the week, a first and a third in 2026 for CeeDee Lamb. There's no way the Cowboys are going to take that, okay? I had Lamb as my offensive player of the year over Christian McCaffrey last year. He was phenomenal. But, there's no way the Cowboys take this. It's going to take at least 2 first-round picks. I don't think the Steelers are going to be willing to do that, especially with the quarterback situation being a little bit shaky for 2025. But let me know down there in the comments section, would you accept this trade for CeeDee Lamb? Type A if you would accept it, or type D if you would decline it. For today's pinned comment, YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds. And when that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. Then we got one from my man Atticus Marandola. I hope I'm saying that right, my friend. Says, if Najee has a huge year, like 1,500 yards, 10 plus touchdowns, do you think the Steelers and him can agree on a long contract? Yes. If he has a season that good, I think absolutely they can come to terms on a good deal. Now, will he get there? I'm not too sure. I think it's going to be pretty much a true committee here between Najee and Jaylen Warren, who was fantastic last season. It's going to be interesting to see who gets more of the work. I think Najee will get more of like the early down and then short area work, goal line work. I think he might have more touchdowns than Jaylen, but I do think Jaylen's going to get quite a bit of work himself, and he's going to be a fantastic running back for us yet again this year. Then we got one from Shane Sabona, who says, I've been hearing some disrespect on Pickens' name, saying he isn't our number one wide receiver. I believe he's got the talent to be better than Jay Jetta's. Do you think he has the same potential? So I think he could be an all-pro. Once you get to a certain level, it's hard to say anyone's better than anybody else. But George Pickens, he reminds me a lot of DeAndre Hopkins in terms of his skill set, okay? He's not necessarily the fastest guy. He's not exactly Julio Jones because he's not as fast as Julio was in his prime. But, man, the hands are incredible, the downfield ability to win contested catch situations. And now I think he's putting together the route running. I think his route running looks really crisp this year. He's added some weight and some muscle. He looks like an all-pro receiver to me. I think with Russell Wilson throwing him the football, he's going to have a shot to really prove to the world that he's a top 5 receiver in the league. And anybody saying he's not the number one receiver here, when it's like, who else is on the receiving team for the Steelers here? Like, Roman Wilson's better than him? No. Van Jefferson's better than him? No way. Calvin Austin third. Like, who else would be the Steelers' number one receiver if not George Pickens? So if anybody's saying that, they're dumb. George Pickens is the number one receiver here in Pittsburgh. And before I get into the rest of the questions today, I want to have a word from our sponsor here at PrizePicks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS or download the PrizePicks app today and use our code CLNS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. And PrizePicks has specials for new and returning users alike for the NBA Finals between the Mavericks and Celtics. Celtics currently up 1-0 in that series, or maybe when this comes out, it'll be a different, kind of score there. It'll probably be 1-1. Producer Sam, big Mavs fan, is telling me here. So the finals mean more on PrizePicks, and so do the star players. You get boosted payouts on select basketball stars that you won't find anywhere else. PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Get in on the daily action with your friends and become part of the PrizePicks community today. Here's my projections here on PrizePicks for Game 2 of the NBA Finals. I guess when this comes out on Sunday, you guys will know if I'm right or wrong on these. I'm going to take the more on Kyrie Irving points. I'm going to take the less on Tingus Pingus points here, and then I'll take the less on Luka Doncic points because 31.5 is ridiculous, man. But anyway, PrizePicks is simple to play. All you have to do is pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and then watch the winnings roll in. Get started now if you haven't already at prizepicks.com/CLNS or download the PrizePicks app today and then get a first-time deposit match up to $100 when you use our code CLNS. With PrizePicks, you can pick more or pick less. It's that easy. Next question from The Jerk Is Mine here. So what's your prediction for the Steelers-Colts sim? So by this time, when this video comes out, it'll be Sunday, and our Madden sim's going out Saturday. So I guess we'll have to see. I'm going to say 28-21 Steelers win. I guess we'll see what the sim ends up getting going here for us. But for me, I'll say 28-21 Steelers get to 4-0. Then we got one from Yurzo1 Alpha here. Says, if Russ is just mediocre, do you think our run game and D can get us past first round of the playoffs? It's an interesting question. If he's mediocre, so mediocre is like what? Anywhere between 20th and 25th best quarterback in football, something around those lines, like maybe 17th. I think it depends on where they play in the playoffs. Like if they play at Acrisure Stadium in the playoffs, right, and it's a cold, windy day, and it's going to come down to who runs the football better and who plays better defense, absolutely the Steelers can win that football game. But if it's a game where it's clear, not much wind, it's going to come down to which team can throw the football, and Russell Wilson isn't really all that good this year, then I think the Steelers once again will lose in the first round of the playoffs. But I guess it depends on how Russ plays this year, and it depends who you play in the first round, and it depends where you play. So there's a lot of factors here, but absolutely, the Steelers can get the job done in the playoffs this year. Then we got one from Stevie Cribb, who says, which Steelers player do you think gets an extension next? Pat Freiermuth, I'm guessing Cam Heyward there, or Jaylen Warren. So right now, there's definitely a lot of players that are eligible for extensions. Steelers have quite a few free agents slated to be free agents here in 2025. So I think Cam Heyward's probably next. I'm not sure if Warren is going to get a deal done. I don't think James Daniels is going to get a deal done. Muth might get a deal done this offseason. I guess we'll see. But I think Cam Heyward is definitely somebody that I think the team feels like they have to get a deal done with him here this offseason. So if I'd have to guess here, I think Cam Heyward is the next to get paid. Now let me know, who's next down there in the comments section? Which Steelers player will get a contract extension next? Let me know down there in the comments section what you guys think. Then we got a $5 super chat here from Omar's Burner. He said he was pessimistic on Aiyuk's contract negotiation, and I can at you with a specific tweet this evening. Perfectly fine, Omar. I think producer Sam already hooked us up here with what Hushmanzada had to say. When it comes to Aiyuk, man, I would love him on the Steelers. I hope and pray Omar Khan can get something done here, and it's not a price that's going to completely break the bank for the Steelers, but you never know at this point. Aiyuk is one hell of a talent, and I'd love him in black and gold. Then we got one from Ant $sign here. He says, how much cap space do we have currently? Do we have enough to sign or trade for a good tier 2 receiver? So listen, man, there's not a whole lot of receivers on the free agency market. Probably the best one available is Michael Thomas. He won't cost you anything. I think the Steelers have about $18 million in cap. So it's about $16 million according to Over the Cap right now. So that's plenty to go get Michael Thomas. And then in terms of a trade, if you extend that player, so let's say they trade for Brandon Aiyuk, all right, and then they extend him. That money won't kick in until 2025, okay? So they'd be on the hook for his contract this season, which I'm actually not sure what the cap number is, but I know they can afford it. And then next year, it'll be the $30 million or whatever it kicks in as. So, yes, they can trade and they can sign receivers right now. They got $16 million left to spend, and I definitely think the Steelers will make another move at receiver. All right, guys, so make sure you like the video right now if you haven't already. Really do appreciate all of your support. Without you guys and the support you give to the channel and you clicking that thumbs up icon and clicking that subscribe button and sending in your super chats and all that great stuff, we wouldn't be able to do what we do every day and give you guys the best damn Steelers coverage here on YouTube. So thank you guys so much for all of your support. And with that, Sam, we got any more questions here? We do. So we got one from Jojo Rico, who says, do you think Keenau Benton will have a more productive season than Cam Heyward this year? I think it's possible. I still think, Cam Heyward is a really, really good player. Don't get me wrong, man. I said on a show earlier this week that you can make an argument he's still a top 5 defensive tackle in the game. He played on a completely injured groin last year, and people talk about, he only had 2 sacks. He's washed now. It's like, no, he was just hurt for the entire season, okay? So Cam's still a really good player, but Keenau Benton looks like he's going to have a breakout season this year, and I think it's going to be a real battle between these two as to who's going to be the better defensive tackle, and they're going to be one of the better interior pass rush duos in football this year to go along with the best edge rusher duo in TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith. Now let me know, who's going to have the better 2024 season? Type CH for Cam Heyward or type KB for Keenau Benton. Let me know your thoughts down there in the comments. Got another one here from Atticus, my friend, says, what is the worst record possible that the Steelers can get to make the playoffs in your mind? Usually the worst and still make the playoffs is like 9-8. That's usually like how like the 9 or 8 or 9 seed or whatever the case may be nowadays is gets in. If they get 9 wins, that might give you a shot, but usually you have to get to double-digit wins. That's kind of like the benchmark to make the playoffs in the NFL nowadays. So I think the Steelers can maybe get in with 9, but they're definitely going to have to get to 10. But hey, they got to 10 last year with Kenny Pickett, Mitchell Trubisky, and Mason Rudolph. I think Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, whoever's going to be the quarterback, either one of those are better than what you had last year. So I think you're going to get to at least 10, might even get to 11 or 12, and might even win the division this year. That'll be it for today's show, guys. Really do appreciate your support. Make sure you click that subscribe button if you enjoyed what you watched today. And then if you want a question on next week's mailbag, join us next Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time and get your question on the show then.